Works well. Makes very good cappuccino.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to have way more coffee before I start talking.
Oh, so I shouldn't hit record right there?
You can hit record.
Okay. Hey. We're live, everybody.
Hello.
We're here. It's
Welcome to the podcast.
It's a virtual episode because it's quite cold, and we didn't want to do what we did last week, being in the cold. But with being in the house, there is always some negative side effects, which is children. They're upstairs, so if you hear scripping and scraping or banging, it's a child. So I apologize for the unprofessionalism, but at least it's better than me going, it's freaking cold for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, we froze last time, but you could have just put it a haunted house behind you and just said, and that could have been the theme, like the Scooby-Doo mansion.
Well, I'm wearing my broadcasting shirt.
What is that?
Sasquatch and the American flag. Because Sasquatch
it's got a scrape mark.
Yeah, because he's like, I want people to see my country. This is Sasquatch country over here. He voted Donnie.
How did Bigfoot become a symbolism of a? I mean, I guess it's Americana.
Yeah, it is weird.
It's taken on a new life here.
Well, it's funny because it's like, when you think of conservatives and you think of the like the parks and like the federal funding, we've talked about it. You're like, oh, I hate that Teddy bought, the government owns the parks, whatever, but it's good that they're being preserved and Trump's kind of doing whatever. But like you think of that and like all of the Sasquatch sightings are in these like parks, but most of those conservatives aren't really going out there. But they love like hunting for Sasquatch, monster hunt, monster quest. Oh
yeah.
They're like, I hope they find that big old frickin' dinosaur. Like, come on.
At this point, I always joke about this. Like, I was bought in on the Bigfoot thing for a long time. And the amount of people that have gone out and searched for this thing, that show Finding Bigfoot single-handedly proved to me that it doesn't exist.
The other big thing is the amount of evidence of weird stuff happening at Skinwalker Ranch and stuff that's been captured with all this technology and crew. And now, granted, I'll give it this. Bigfoot's an elusive creature. It has
I get it.
It has ways to slip past our new technology and our night vision cameras. But all of them, you can't just do like these running sweeps. Like Destination Truth had a bit. I mean, it has a pass for it because like they're doing it for like a shoot for like one day and they got to go to the next shoot for it's a TV series.
Right.
They're not like really looking for it. But if your whole show was we're gonna find Bigfoot,
yeah. They never even came close.
And I mean, Destination Truth.
And they started the BFRO.
Yeah.
Bigfoot Field Research Organization.
Yeah. So, like, the Yeti kind of, Destination Truth got the footprint. I could definitely believe the Yeti in that sense because it's like there's not that many people traversing that to get footage. It's also white, snow, you bring your phone out to take a picture, your phone dies because it's cold, battery drainage. I get it. But it's the same.
What are they eating up there? Like, it just doesn't make sense. The narrative's off.
Yaks. I don't know.
There's no yaks in that area.
Well, they're eating something, I know they're there. I believe it. Now, Bigfoot, it's just like, I agree. It's the same reason with the ice wall stuff. It's like, it's fun, but there is enough, like, technology with, like, cameras that we would have seen beyond the ice wall now without ChatGPT and AI before that.
Well, they took one of those guys down, too. I just saw a clip. They took him down, and according to them, you shouldn't be able to have certain time periods or whatever. I know they talk about I know a lot about. They talk about a hyperlocal sun, and and they got it figured out. But like according to there's some kind of methodology. If you went to the North Pole, you wouldn't have some of the times the sunlight. Anyway, I don't know the whole thing, but they took him down there and they made him say on camera. He was like, "I told you I'd come down here and said this has changed my narrative. Now I still believe in the flat Earth." But I'm gonna have to rethink some things. But I know.
Well, see, that's why the ice wall is great because the ice wall, it's a dome. I don't think I've ever shown you the picture.
No. You got the picture of the ice wall?
No. What the ice wall, the way the Earth looks. I'll pull it up real quick. I'll do some. Jamie, pull that up. Ice wall. snowman.
I type so much at work.
Picture.
I've got like bad carpal tunnel. And I was going to say, they also just, have you ever had wait till you get a little older there, Brandon. Have you ever had a sty on your eyeball?
No.
Not on the ball. Not on the ball. I guess it's not a sty. It was like a skin tag over the top of my eye. I had to get that thing cut off at the doctor. Boy.
Oh, that's not good.
It's horrible, Brandon.
How did that happen? Was it just because, like, looking at the screens all the time?
I'm getting old. No, they say it's because you're getting too fat. Is honestly what. No, I looked into it a little bit. It's where your skin rubs.
Oh.
And they said it could be genetics. Another thing that it could be, I had that issue with my stomach.
Yes.
If your digestive tract doesn't work properly, then you don't process some of those bad, chemical whatever's in your body. It doesn't process right, so it can take the form of like cysts, which I have a couple. It can take the form of the skin tag deal. So I'm trying to get my gut fixed, Brandon.
I get you. We're going live over here to the right. I want you to see, everybody, you can see this as well. I want you to see the ice wall. I'll bring it up main screen for everybody that is on the video part of the podcast. So up in the front, on top of the ice wall, we have Earth, still around, still a globe. So flat earthers, they don't know that they're wrong. So we have the moon and the sun, and Atlas, the second Earth underneath the ice wall, has one big sun, and then Okapura, Okapukatuku is what I was calling
Okapura.
That is where, so Atlas is where the dragons have went there because of humans killing them in the Middle Ages. So they have fled to Atlas with some of the other weirder creatures. And then like the Krakens and the big scary things of the yesteryear are in Okapura. They're like the weird stuff. So aliens and UFOs kind of come from the Atlas and Okapura. They venture into Earth to check on us because we're the big boys. I see
there's some holes in the ice wall there.
Those are the gates that you can get in there. So let me get to a different map. So this is the other map. I don't need that. I need the one that doesn't make.
So it's like a snowman structure.
Yeah, it's more like a snowman structure.
Wait, really quick. Click the one with the spaceship, the space station there.
Which one?
This? There. Yeah. I just want to see what's going on here.
I did a YouTube video, so it's just it's just playing a GIF of it.
I thought it was going to show it.
No. They wouldn't do that. They would break the whole narrative.
Yeah, that's true.
But here, okay, let's open up this bad boy. I know you guys can't see it, audio listeners. So you can see the two gates right there. There's the Bawama
through our ice wall. There's two gates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's where the people come through that lived in. I gotta find the one map that has all the creatures on it.
Are there people there now? There's people there?
Sure. Let's say that there is, for the sake of argument. Yes.
Is that the Atlanteans or no?
No. These are the mushroom people that look like giant mushrooms. Like they evolved to be like their head is a giant block. And then let's even go.
Let's just pull up the mushroom people.
I'm gonna go to YouTube real quick. What is it?
Who was Terrence McKenna seeing? Was he seeing those people?
I think he was. I was thinking I think he was seeing those people. I don't want to actually give this. I'm not watching this guy's video. I want to see if he has the map. Oh, here's the final destination of the ice wall. Here we go.
Ooh, the final.
So here's what the ice wall. This is a colored map of the ice wall.
Okay. Now, what's going on in the outskirts? So what I'm seeing is it looks like the UN map, but there's
I'm trying to find
another circle around it, and then there's another larger circle around that, and we only have access to the first ice wall.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What is this? It's just the world of the ice wall. I thought it was going to have the creatures on it. I know there's one that goes in.
What's on the outside of it? What's on that?
Oh my lord!
Wow.
Hold on.
Did you pull this up on the Wayback Machine?
No, this is on Reddit from like a year ago.
Oh.
So this is
Scorched.
This is the walls of Asgard and Valhalla are on the outskirts of the furthest part of Okapura. And there's Valhalla right there.
The Bifrost zone.
Yeah.
And the Sky Caverns.
Yeah, we can go ahead and let's try to get a good zoom in Valhalla. Yeah, they didn't, the map, somehow they got a really good description of what Valhalla looks like on the outskirts. So I'm glad they included that.
What's in the heart of Valhalla there?
I think that's just a spring. You know.
Oh.
Yeah. Over here is the frozen wastes.
Okay,
on the outside of the all of the Earth's globes and all of the whatever it's called, the ice walls, is actually just the four nations from Avatar. So the frozen wastes, then we got the Spotlight Sea coming into the Patmos, all this, there's all this.
Oh, Patmos is there?
Yeah.
Lemuria. I have heard of Lemuria.
Yeah, Formosa Ultima, the land of the broken moon. They actually that actually fell from the second moon of Atlas. When Atlas had a moon, it blew up from the dragon and the aliens fighting, and then
that looks like Greece.
Yeah,
that looks like
Greece took a lot. Greece took a lot from there when they were building building it out, like in Minecraft, kind of like when they were making the.
So did the Outlands? What is this? What is this called? Kamala? Is this the planet Kamala or whatever it's called? Kapura.
This is where the Democrats live, technically.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That's why their worldview is so different. Zinger. This is the circumcised ocean right here. Oh no, my bad. It says the circumscribed ocean, so it's different.
Circumscribed Weldhorn.
Let's bring back the word circumscribed and just kind of use that.
The countries are here.
Welderham Destiny Manifest. So
I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty good. The Airbnb market down there isn't as bad as it is up here. It's not as inflated. Their currency is a lot different. They use the souls of humans as their currencies.
The Psychonauts Oasis is looking really intriguing. So were all of these land masses a part of what we know as the world right now, or is that separate? Like, is continental drift? Like, I mean, is that like?
It's hard to say. Each gravitational pull of part of the snowman globe is a little different.
Okay.
So I'm not into I'm not a scientist. I'm just a guy. I'm a researcher. I just want to find remnants of the yesteryear kingdoms, and I put them on a map. So
okay.
I don't know.
Well, that's respectable. Somebody has to broadcast the information.
Yeah, I mean, more people need to know about this because I feel like a lot of people are living as if the Earth is flat and the ice wall means something, but it's round. It's still round. All of that science is right, but NASA just stopped us from seeing the second one and the third one because space still exists. Like space is still out there. They don't include it on here, but like the space, because it's kind of like that water, like that one UFC guy. So it is like water. It's holding us together.
Right, the firmament.
Yeah, the firmament keeps us from floating away. And you think, this is where we are, interesting, like we're like God's little creation. But there's actually multiple snowmen like, globes in the universe. And if you break it up, and they don't have the map of it yet, because really we just haven't got a telescope strong enough to see it. But if you go far enough out, all galaxies end up looking like a snowman.
Okay. Do we know why, or?
I think Frosty might be like the original creator. He's got his like little magic hat. He kind of, he is the he's been molding all of life. But yeah, these people are crazy.
Well, I was going to say, if you go back, it looks like there's a hurricane brewing in the southeastern sea there.
Yeah, I think maybe there's a day we dedicate an episode to proving the ice wall, not like the ice wall, exists like that, but I'd say doing as much as we can to learn about what's beyond the ice wall and these creatures.
I would like to know the creatures that are out there. What do you think? What is your honest view about dude, you always hint around and talk about this, right?
What?
Well, I'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
We have all of these clips. We've got.
Hello and welcome.
Sorry, there's new content. The guy who made the map posted a month ago, so that is going to be.
Let's see the new content.
I'm gonna watch that when we're done with this. Get some, dude. New ice wall content is being posted, and I'm not being notified. Subscribe.
Yeah, you got
for sure.
You got to turn on the bell. Click the bell for notifications on that.
New evidence.
Yeah. No, so we have a lot of evidence. We got the Tic Tac UFO.
Yeah.
We've got all these clips coming out. Now, I think there is a lot of this that obviously is put through a computer and AI generated and all that. But just say even 2%, even 1% of it is real. and definitely the one that's filmed by the FBI, or I'm sorry, the military. And the crazy thing about it is it goes like they got all these that are going into the water, or they look like they slip through like reality and just and go and like disappear. And so my question to you is, you talk a lot about we've talked off podcast about the Atlanteans, and I just wonder, do you think that they could have, if they're real, and if there are people under the earth, Brandon, do you think that the Atlanteans are the ones that are operating that spacecraft? Well, whatever it is, interdimensional craft.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, the water thing is something that's always been brought up, and we've talked about it on the old podcast, and like, you know, it's like maybe we're looking too far out. When you look at when you're thinking of like the space, like they're coming from different galaxies. What if they're coming from beneath? For whatever reason, and you know, I always think of like Stargate Atlantis and stuff like that. Whenever I'm thinking about that, because that's kind of like that same kind of vibe. Like
Kurt Russell.
So let's go with like we can go look at three things. So for some reason, their technology is advanced. They have these awesome flying machines that are like crazy good at maneuvering things, and people have seen things in the craft, whatever. I have a new theory that I just thought of right now that I'm gonna bring up. This is new breaking.
Click the like button.
And subscribe. So I think that everyone talks about like these different portals and stuff, and it's just like we don't have the technology to go down at the bottom of the ocean and really see anything at a high level. Right. There's nooks and crannies there that are unexplored, so maybe Atlantis sinking and then surviving down there, if it was such an advanced technology but wiped out, I could see remnants of it surviving and then rebuilding part of their technology and just staying there, because really, on the surface, they angered God. Right. So maybe they're
this would have happened during Noah's flood?
Yeah.
Like, is this? Oh, okay.
So I would say, if you look at the timeline of like when Atlantis was fallen in that, I would say.
When would that have been?
I mean, it was before Plato. It happened like 2,000 years before Plato talked about it. So I would say that's definitely biblical flood, or that like original. I can't say it's like the. I don't know if it was the flood, but I feel like it's related to like that deluge that happened. Yeah, it was definitely like, it was probably like, BP.
So they had too many cows.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's too many cows.
So if I was them, so like, they were in description and in the stories, like, holier than normal humans, probably
right.
What were closer to what we would consider the ancient Christians, who were like, that didn't age and stuff like that, that were much, like, that were different. And then they have fallen, and then they sank. So down there, what did survive? They're like, well, let's just stay down here, and I guess in their eyes, like, away from God's eyes. I mean, they could see it, but like, they're not interacting with the new world that was created. They're just kind of off on their own. Right. And then they would just go up and check things and be like, what's going on up here now? And then go back home.
How do they have the technology to build all that stuff down under the, like, what's down there? Do they got crops? You know what I mean? Like, where I mean, it'd be easier to mine, I'd say.
I mean, I don't know. I just watched a documentary last night. It was called Meg 2. So there's just the ability, the ability to just to be down on the bottom of the floor and crack open the thing where all the megalodons and the krakens are. It's really easy, actually.
That's what happened?
Dude, that movie is so strange. Yeah.
The Meg
2. We were watching it last night, and I was like, I need to be a little bit more drunk to enjoy this. It just doesn't make any sense, and not in a fun way.
Who's in the Meg? Who is in there?
It's that one bald white guy from Fast and Furious that like fights people. I forget his name. He's
Vin Diesel.
No. The other white one. The one that was like Sean and Hobbs, like the buddy that would like fight against The Rock in the most recent one. I really don't know his name.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a movie watcher very often, but the technology down there, I mean, it's hard. All of everything from Atlantis is just like, stories of yesteryear. So and the technology they had that was advanced, like, there's no way to, like, they always just say like advanced technology. There's no real gauge of what does advanced mean to us. Like, they didn't have 5G. They weren't using Bluetooth, so I'm like, did they have like ways were they using, sound and harmonics to move things and build things easier, like some of the people that have been, like what we theorized for the pyramids, like if you're in the woo-woo side, using all of the different sounds, the move objects because they have that tone, something like that, like more magical sciencey stuff, or is it like do they have like nanobots that can just build things crazy, something wild? I'm not sure. It doesn't make sense with the pressure down there, depending how far that landmass sunk. Because you would think if it sunk in a spot that wasn't like the deepest part of the ocean, we would have found remnants of it by now. So it's been gone. So they're either really good at hiding or it's gone. But what I was going to say, when we think of like the UFOs coming out of the ocean, coming back, I think a lot of times they're looking for these manned objects. But what do we have nowadays that are super sleek? Well, I guess not sleek, but they're very maneuverable and they're piloted by somebody not there. What's something that we yes,
drones.
What if they're just like super drones that aliens use as a drone to go look at it, and that's why there are certain shapes that don't look like they can hold life beings, and they can move so well because they don't have to worry about something on board maneuvering it. It's maneuvering it far away, and they're coming back into the ocean just to go back and charge.
But how do you account then for like
the ones
Roswell and all these accounts with people in it? Like they said, what's his name? Who's the Area 51 guy? Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar
said, that some of those that they uncovered in archaeological digs.
So what I would say
that would mean
is
there was manned craft.
Twofold. There are some are actual aliens from space. Some are the aliens from the ocean that are the drones. There are manned and non-manned ones. So there's just like we're just a hot spot for activity. People love us. This says Mr. Right. You can't see it really well.
There you
go. So I know I'm
That's
right.
Racist. So they they had they keep finding these egg UFOs.
Yeah.
Now. Are you hearing about this? There was that one that just got released not too long ago, and it was they said it was evidence of a helicopter picking one up. Didn't look like much to me, but everybody's now saying and who knows? People could be making this stuff up. But I read one where it was like talking about this Chinese. It was in China in like 1500s. They said that it was written on a scroll, and they talked about how all of a sudden this red glowing orb appeared. It was the shape of an egg, and it was recorded. All these people saw it, and I didn't read, and I didn't stay long enough to see what happened to it. But
I don't know. It's tough with the UFO things. The UFO's been so jerked around by the people like, don't worry, because it's been kind of co-opted by people in like so back in the day, like Dr. Stephen Greer. They were going to bring it out before 9/11 happened. All these UFO stuff had happened, and then it kind of got his little cult following. But now everybody on YouTube and TikTok, they have like, oh, I got the inside knowledge, and they're all stringing people along with like this evidence or new footage, and it's less of like it's a grift. They're like, oh, I'll release it to you guys. You go buy my book. It's in my book. It's in my book. It's like it's not in the book. You're just trying to make money off of that.
Right.
So it's strange because that community kind of they've gotten screwed because they're passionate about it.
Their way.
And the most people are like, we just want to know, is this real or not? And now people are kind of just abusing it to make money off of them, which I understand. But so when all of this stuff comes out or is coming out and it's being drip fed, like I don't believe a lot of it because I'm like, man, it's just like it would have already come out now. And there's been so many like slips where it would have made more sense for it to be brought up, but and then they always during COVID it happened, or they did their little press conference, or they're talking about some of the things that have happened, or the military has seen, but the disclosure didn't really bring anything up that we haven't already known. Pause real quick, time out. We're breaking the flow. Next time we record, we're gonna do it when my kids are asleep. We'll never do this inside ever again when they are.
I haven't heard anything.
Oh, I hear. Okay, then you're good. For me,
yeah,
I hear them up there just like I've never heard kids play with toys so loudly before. They're never that loud, and they're like, "What do we just throw everything on the ground?" Like,
I heard earlier. I heard Morgan talking, but I haven't heard anything since.
So it's just very funny. But I think with the UFOs, all the disclosure. It's, as we get more technology, then the more AI, especially AI video right now, it makes everything just you just got to throw anything out the window that you see. But technology on our end, there are so many drones and stuff. It's really hard to decipher what is or isn't man-made. Because again, drones can move a little differently than a normal craft. So if they do a good job hiding it's a drone, and let's be honest, people are terrible at a distance, kind of seeing with the size of something. There was an episode of like Monster Quest with Mothman, and it was a really funny thing of people seeing something in like the sky, and they're like, it was like 10 feet. 10 feet wide. Oh, the wingspan is huge. And they're like, these people are just like, when you're seeing something in the moment at dark with very little visible, you see something, you have no idea the reference point of how big that is. They're like, it's gigantic. And then they did some tests and like had people do it with like stuff flying over, and people would say like this thing was like 6 or 7 feet like wingspan. It was like a 3-foot little bird thing they were using, but because it's dark and it's going fast, and I was like, yeah, the eyes plays tricks on you. So the eyes plays the tricks on you. So it's hard to.
The Mothman is a weird one though.
The Mothman is
that
weird.
Bridge collapsed. Yeah, that bridge collapsed right afterwards. They kept getting all in weird calls, and those I watched the interview with the teenagers in that car when it first appeared, and something happened. Like I don't know. That guy was shell shocked.
Oh yeah. I think
so. I don't know, but I mean. There was some kind of weirdness going on.
In terms of a new conspiracy theory, I wonder if, because it hasn't happened at a high level since, like, there's times like there's been incidences in the past with these alien creatures and the Men in Black, like, messing with these one particular families on land. It's kind of like a Skinwalker Ranch thing happening for a set amount of time and then never happening again, which gives it like a little bit more credit that it's not happening all the time. It's not like it's like, every couple months, it's like the same Wednesday, something's happening. But, ever since 2012, ever since the world technically ended, it's been a lot less, like, weird in that sense. Like, if you think of, like, the aliens and...
Explain that for the kids at home, because we got a lot of young... Here, hold on just a minute.
Okay. So, 2012... If you don't know, the Mayans...
we got a lot of young viewers. They don't know this. It feels like common knowledge to me and you, but the young viewers don't know.
The Mayans predicted, they made this calendar forever ago, ancient civilization. They're like, hey, world's going to end in 2012. The real translation was like a new beginning or something like that. Like the calendar ended, there's going to be this new cycle, but people were like, the world's going to freaking end. They didn't make any more years. Like, man, they're out of stone, man. It's already a big enough calendar. Right. They can't just like, at some point, they're like, okay. And then it fit in their narrative. It's a brand new thing. It's a new life or something like that, a new cycle. But everyone,
it's a cycle of rebirth.
Everyone thought the world was going to end. They made that 2012 movie, World Ending, very big craze. But when you think
that
about...
was based on Art Bell's book, The Quickening.
Yeah.
It was. That's true.
That's funny.
He co-wrote that. Did you know that?
Oh, no. Did he... But I'll have to read that.
Yeah, The Quickening.
But what I think of, when you think of 2012, there's like... And it's weird because it's like, 2012 is after the 2008 recession, so we were still in the mid-2000s, We haven't fully gotten out of like the early Y2K stuff and the 2000 eras of what the future's like. But when you hit that 2012 and then past, really the progression that we've had as a society has kind of like dipped. It's kind of been stagnant. Like there's not been new innovations. I mean, the most recent thing we've got is like handheld PCs, like the Steam Deck and stuff like that, making something so small. It's so close to having a little handheld computer that can fit like here in your hand and like do everything like they do in the old movies. Like we're real close. I mean, they're like $2,000 a pop, but like we're real close.
Yeah.
But you think of like society and all this weird stuff that was happening, all this pre-2012 stuff, and while there's still weird stuff going on now and people see things, it's just not at the same level that are interacted with humans nowadays. And whether or not we just have maybe after 2012 we just kind of lost that kind of joy and we don't like care about that stuff anymore, or because the world didn't fully end. But I think spiritually the world changed then, and now we're living in a different version of the universe. So the way it interacts is a lot different.
Something shifted.
Yeah,
it's like, something shifted for sure.
Like it doesn't feel the same. And maybe part of that's just like the way our age, but we're different. Like we're like 8 years apart. You're like what? You're like 52 or something.
Yeah, next year though.
Yeah. So the difference of age is everyone.
We're not really 8 years apart though, are we?
How old are you?
I don't think so. You're older than my sister. 33.
Oh yeah, we're only like 5. I'm like 29.
Yeah. Okay.
So but still like 5 years. Yeah. 2012. If it was like just a young person thing or like around that time, it would have been different. but I was still in high school. So like just the change of things went from like old pre-internet to like an apps to like moving into what it is now, like the first
I
version
remember
of
the
it.
first iPhone I ever saw. There was this kid sitting next to me in like science class, and he was like, "Man, I want to be a doctor so I can make a bunch of money." And knowing the kid, I was like, "Okay." But he said, "I'm bringing it in." He had it was because we all had iPods, those old Nanos.
Those are cool.
And he brought it in. Did you ever hit it? Oh, you froze. Did I freeze or did you freeze?
We're good. I'm just you froze a little bit, but we're fine. Audio's fine.
Okay, cool. So anyway, he brought it in, and the app, like, it was huge. It was all big and fat.
Yeah.
And it's like going from that to like what I have now, where I can literally go on my phone and any question I have, pop it in ChatGPT. It's going to spit out an answer in the matter of what, like say 15 years.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
Think. But something changed, and look, I think we've opened Pandora's box a little bit too.
Well, maybe that happened in 2012. You know,
that's what I'm saying. I think that we've breached, like, not every kind of technology. I think is going to be
what?
It's going to be the best. It's just you. Not every kind of technology and not every advancement
it's gonna be good.
Might be the best. But yeah, so I think that has something to do with it too.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that part of it is what I've been thinking about. And for all of this monster stuff, I think it goes into something that I've been thinking about, and I'm not going to go out on a limb and say who I think is doing it all, but there is some level, whether it's manufactured or whether it's all coming together, is is for control. And I think, this goes into a broader thing that I've been thinking about. But in years past, a lot of men had like a standard kind of religion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people had a standard religion. And I think that this could be the alien thing and like the Bigfoot thing and all of this is people grasping for spirituality outside of our traditional religions. And it's a way that, whether the government is definitely, I think, even if they're not, just say, an imaginative world, they could be using that to have people not believe, say, like me as a Christian, like, say they're leading people astray so that they can manipulate them and have them believe what they want. So it's basically a state religion is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
If it's not, it's something that could be easily used and manipulated, where it's like, because number one, what are people going away from old antiquated religions? Because they want something that addresses their modern problems. Boom. UFOs. They want to talk about, we have advances in science, advances in all this stuff. Boom. Now we've gotten into the UFOs where they're like a spiritual thing. If you manifest this thought, the UFO, that's that Greer.
That's Stephen Greer. You sit in a circle and meditate, and you summon them up with God. It's very strange.
And he's talking about they're taking pictures.
Yeah.
And they got the UFO, or they got the alien there, and it's like, this is a spirit. This has gone away from 1990s UFO talk landing in the desert.
Yeah.
This is a metaphysical deal.
Yeah. These are now. He's turned it from like green men from Mars to like side angels from heaven,
Right.
I
think that. Well, I just did you really?
Yeah,
I
never got to summon one though. Thank God.
Well, I think that it's definitely being used, and whether or not it's intentional, it's a way that people can grasp spirituality in a modern age. And it's a new religion. I mean, what do they call that? The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, or something like that, or the Church of the Flying Saucer. That's it.
And so, also to that point, I was going to say there's like twofold. Is like, one, the government wants to control the populace as much as they can. Whether they're doing it for nefarious reasons of like the Satan worshippers or like killing stuff like that. People are just doing it because they want the power that they have. They want to stay in power as long as they can. Like, that's like people in Congress are 80, like the one that was on like in dementia in like a home, still on payroll for like Congress for a state or something like that. That's crazy. So so dumbing us down or all that stuff and making us believe certain things, I think is what they're doing. And then that tool can be used by people if they're in, like, they're nefarious in that like way to like, oh, I want to make people less religious for, this reason, to
easier controlled, I think.
Yeah.
I think people are easier to be controlled if you can control what they believe. Because like it's saying Christianity, America was, whether or not you want to say they were founded on it, right? Like that was the main religion.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had this credence that was our government serves us and there is something above. But when you get this, and just like a corporation, the government's there to serve itself. Once it gets so big, all they're doing is making decisions so they get more and more and more power, just like a corporation.
Yeah.
The corporation is there not for the people so that they can continue to grow. And that's what's happened, I think, in our government. And so once it gets so big, if you have something that challenges it, the number one thing is all these, whatever you are, Christian, Muslim, like whatever, you have something that elevates itself higher than the state. So you can't be controlled. If we put a law out that contradicts what you believe, then you're going to go against it on religious grounds.
Yeah.
Well, you can't operate a large state having that. And so I think that that's one of the reasons that a lot of like China and like a lot of these other Marxist countries and stuff have tried to do away with religion.
Yeah.
Is because you can control the masses, but even more than that, you get pushback when you do it overtly. And so if you can do it,
I just got a call from Xi Jinping. We didn't say that. We love China.
Sorry, did I say China?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I meant no, that place on the third.
Yeah, it's in.
What's that?
It's in Atlas.
Chinar.
Yeah.
Chinar. Yeah. But no, I think that everybody's onto the game, and they don't want like a bloody war or something like that. So what do? You do it, coercively.
You do it through society. You
make a state religion.
Yeah, you derail it by. I mean, people. We already. You look at everything. With technology and the numbing, the iPad kids. Which the iPad kids is less of like a government thing, but that it was more of like parents not wanting to parent their children and they just avoid it. But part of that could be a societal thing because, the way our economic setup is, it's like it really does hamper somebody. You don't have, like Morgan and I, I took off yesterday, I took a vacation, I was with the kids, I was babysitting, and it's like, man, it feels so much nicer that if someone's at work, we're with the kids. When you're not, we're both working, they're with babysitters, they're like, you're not with them, so you're disconnected. And then you're stressed because the turmoil of like not every job pays enough bills, and we live in an area that we're fine, but a lot of people aren't. So when you're stressed and you come home from work and the kids are annoying, and you're like, I just need to break your iPad get them, and then it just makes the cycle of just now they're on this hook, and you've created a problem, and this problem creates it's always turning, and it comes down just from like the a government control thing. We're like, well, we want to make as much money as possible for us. We're not going to let it spread the wealth. And we can't, the communist stuff doesn't work.
Well, yeah.
I mean, even the Minecraft
I think
servers.
that
But what I was going to say,
sold you the American dream.
Oh yeah.
And even it's the illusion of choice. It's like I can choose this job, I can choose this job, I can choose, going to school, I can choose going straight to work. But it's all within the same paradigm.
Yeah.
It's all within the same. I have these choices. I can grow up, like I go to graduate high school, I either go straight to the workforce, but the next step, it's like steps: buy the house, get married, have kids. It's all within that same paradigm that's been told to you ever since you were a kid.
And even if we were doing our own thing, like the podcast, you still you're putting, if this was our job, we'd have to do a lot more work every week. I mean, no agenda, do 2 shows a week, and it's all week getting clips from the news, doing all this stuff. That doesn't sound fun. And then you get together, you talk about it, which, I mean, that part's fun, but it's constant work. I was going to say, to kind of back about the religious part of the lack of religion. If you look at ideologies on the left and right, like MAGA right now, the identity politics, a lot of people who would be considered religious or not religious, they hold on to these ideas and these ideologies as if it were a religion, and they treat it as such. Even with science during COVID and stuff like that, anything was the science is there, trust the science, and it becomes a point where it's they act as if they were in a religion. You cannot talk bad about the thing that it is. You can't talk about the identity politics or stuff like that. So everyone is clamoring for that spiritual connection, and they don't realize it, but they start getting into an idea. So if they're MAGA people, it's they're on that 1,000%. So if it's the trans
so
stuff. So
you're saying politics has become their religion?
Yeah, it's something that it has filled the void, and that's more of the government. We're talking about using it as a system of control. So they're still religious, but instead of now being in a religion that's about, I would say, the core values that kind of built the country in like a positive way. It's in these core values, and I mean, I know "Make America Great Again" is like supposed to be something, but there's some wackos on that side. There's wackos on all sides, but it's like they're using these ideologies as, platforms for them to be a religion.
How do you
go ahead?
So one thing with you, so I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just thinking, one thing that you just said. I think so. Somebody posted something the other day on X, and I went on there and looked. Like everybody on this thing is a bot.
Yes.
Like this is all bots. This is literally so everything that you see in that algorithm.
It's not real.
One, I think half the people that you see, are literally just people from other countries or even here that are just doing that farming.
Yeah.
And they've already outed a bunch of people, like they were pretending to be like whatever, like the MAGA people, or pretending to be like from America, and it was somebody from like another country, or like one of them was like a traditional housewife. It was some like, I don't know, it was like a single lady from like some, it's like, what is this? And so all of it is just to get the clicks and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think half the people that these people claiming to follow that are radicalizing all these people
aren't even
here. Fake.
Yeah.
And so again, who is controlling that? And I think it's bought and paid for.
Yeah.
My question to you is, what do you think? Because I have my ideas, but I want to hear it from you. What do you think caused politics to become a religion to the masses? And this has changed. I mean, I'll say it wasn't like that. So if you want to say it changed with 9/11 in 2001, everybody got super, for those of you that are younger than that time after 9/11, everyone was super patriotic. They were all on board to go in Afghanistan. They were all on board to go to Iraq. Like, I'm sure that there was some naysayers in that, but everybody for the most part, like, banded together and was like, we're going to go. And you got terrorists and you got all this stuff. And we were pretty together, but at some point in time, I'll say, maybe by the time Obama came, but it even wasn't then. It's probably after that, somewhere in the 2010s, something changed to where we got disjointed. And then politics, it started, I think, with the 24-hour news cycle.
Yes.
So that's propaganda in itself. Everybody, I mean, my grandma watched literally Fox News. I'm talking about all day long.
Yeah.
And that's straight propaganda.
100%. And it's also like they do stories that are terrible. Yeah, they like to harp on certain. Like they're just like picking whatever. Like a lot of it's native ads.
And part of it is they are controlling what you view. You know what I mean? Like they're choosing what to focus on, and so they're controlling the narrative of what people are talking about. Go ahead.
I know. Trump. Everyone harps on Trump when he said like the fake news stuff because they didn't agree with him and all that stuff. But like news organizations are a profit-driven company. They are, owned by like their 5 corporations own most of the news stations. They get ads for things that they want. Like, the RFK thing right now. If he could somehow, if without dying, get pharmaceutical companies if we make that illegal to have your ads on TV like every other country in the freaking world, outside of like one other one. One, they would lose almost all their advertising because all of their advertising on the news cycle is like medicine stuff to like ask your doctor about. They can still they can still do advertising, but it's like they'll do these native ads like when they do a story like always happens during Christmas time. Somebody at Walmart, No Agenda's done clips on it like all the time. You can go back and look at it. It's like it's always at Christmas like someone paid off our layaways. Oh, this Christmas it was like $1,000. Some random guy at Walmart paid for it. Yeah, Walmart paid for it. Yeah, they did it. Right, it's a sob story. It's a fucking piece to try. I started saying the F word. It's a clean podcast, but it's like they're doing it. It's an ad. It's not a real story. And it's
everything's just like that.
It's aggravating because when it's a 24-hour, again, and that's the same thing with like that's when we were talking about before the podcast, SportsCenter. SportsCenter in the early 2000s, news was like it's a 42-minute episode. This is your segment. You come back next week when we do it again. There's some top 10s blopped in there, but now every news, even in sports, is like the game's off. They got to have a talk show, a different talk show, talking points. They have to just keep talking about.
And it's all the same thing they're talking about.
Yeah.
And they all have, and all the media is owned by like 4 corporations. Like what?
That's what I said earlier. Yeah, it's like 4 or 5. It's absolutely crazy. And then people go, oh, whatever. So, when you have an opinion that is like, and everyone's like, so anti-corporate world where they don't like capitalism, and I get that. I'm for that partly. But then when you go, yeah, all these companies are owned by the same four people. They're like pushing an agenda. You're like, they wouldn't do that. No way.
No.
But capitalism is bad. Like, what do you mean? What do you pick a?
Yeah.
You can't have both. Like, it's bad.
I think people's world's like the paradigm, right? Like I feel like if they truly realized how controlled their world, like it's this illusion of choice.
Oh, well, I was
like
about to bring that up.
Yeah. So it's like they keep you divided, right? It's like they want you fighting super right, they want you fighting super left, they want you super black, they want you super white.
Yeah.
Like they want you, and all of these things. And I get being proud of your white heritage and all that. I'm not saying that, but I am saying, like with the politics thing, like they're creating all this division, but they're only giving you two choices. It's not like any other real choices exist. Even in other countries, there's like four parties. You know what I mean? Like at least there's a few parties.
But if you look at the EU and stuff like that, this has happened plenty of times. Like happened during Brexit as well. So they have their democracy, and then you vote. You have people voting like, oh, we're going to vote for Brexit, not breakfast, and they vote out, and they go, and then the EU goes, those votes were wrong, redo the vote. And they make you re-vote until you vote right. Yes, they do it all the time. It happens. I'll go dig up some stuff maybe just like to send you later, but it happens all the time. If some country's trying to vote for some things or changes, they'll go, and then it passes like, well, we didn't like you. Re-vote, you voted wrong, people, and they keep doing it until they get the vote they want that aligns with the EU. So it's all bad.
Something that bothers me and has been good.
Well, but my point was with the illusion of choices, like here's the choices that really matter. You know, it's your life, how you are trying to prosper yourself, for your family or your friends, whatever you're taking care of. And then we've talked about it before, your community. The only way to really visibly see a change that's worth putting, on, like, I'm not going to put on like the I'm a right conservative, I'm going to go fight for Trump's party. I will fight for, better laws and better stuff for where I live. If this is where I'm living, I want the kids here to have better education. I want maybe better taxes that are getting used for the potholes that don't get fixed. Something like that. That's the stuff you need to focus on if you're going to be political, because then it's affecting you, the people that are coming around you, that community, and that spreads. It spreads, as you do more, because then at some point it'll get covered by like a local news station, and local news isn't as bad as the 24-hour news cycle where it's like the mega stuff. But I mean, even then, local news is still they still have to run stuff. But I mean, just slowly breaking that and changing that culture, it takes time, but that's where you want to address a lot of the situations, and it's hard. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying.
Well, I was going to say I don't know even now, because like they said, the biggest redistribution of wealth came in 2021 with COVID. Everybody's buying up all the stuff. So even the big guys got way bigger.
Yeah, I know.
And I think it's this whole thing. It's like they give you the illusion of choice, because if you knew that you didn't have a choice,
you wouldn't do anything.
If you, I mean, you wouldn't do anything, or you wouldn't be as easily controlled that way too, because you'd rebel against your captors. And that's the thing, right? Like they give you bread and circus. We've talked about this. They give you things to occupy your mind. But the what people don't realize is, like, as far as like, there was that comedian that said it's a big club and you're not in it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what's it, Carlin?
Yes. I'm trying to. I know who it is. It's something Carlin. Yeah. But I can't remember his full name.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. And Americans especially, we value democracy, and we value everyone's equal opinion, and we value, and maybe that was the case. I mean, you could even argue though it probably wasn't, because it was like a group of like 100 people, young white men, you know what I mean, that control everything in America. But the thing is though, we're so big on having everything fair. I think what you just talked about, people don't want to believe they live in a world where they truly don't have a choice. I heard the guy that wrote Breakfast at Tiffany's, there's a movie about him. I can't remember. He's dead now. He had a quote that was talking about how Americans don't like natural beauty.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to Kelly about this, and she disagreed. But I think you might see my point, or his point. I just agree with him. So he said Americans don't value natural beauty. They like to see an average-looking person that's completely dolled up.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or put in a suit or whatever, to to show, and that becomes beautiful. They like the ugly duckling that becomes and the reason, because we value fairness, and everything is fair. We want to know that you can, no matter where you start in America, that you can grow and become something great, or in our minds. So even especially in America, I think it's super a potent idea that gets completely pushed away, that we could be being controlled by just a few select people, and that my choice, like I have a few choices, but it's within that spectrum. I'm not truly in control of my destiny.
Yeah.
I'm not, I can't become the leader of a company and I think America, you can move up and down more.
Well, I would agree with that, because I feel like that's part of like their change of the like carving out the American dream is still accessible, because you see people like, you can make your own LLC, you can do all these things that go from like poor to not poor, and you can like maybe get to like semi.
But you'll never be in control.
No, you'll never be like an Elon type of thing unless you're like a stooge for the government. But what I was gonna say, to your point, is we're getting close on time. It's about 50 minutes. So we'll wrap up here in a second. But so we've been talking a lot about the illusion of choice. But how do we?
Too much time on Antarctica.
Yeah, we did spend way too much time on the ice wall. But speaking of like the ice wall, how do we get rid of the norms of the Earth being a globe and not being a snowman with the ice wall, or the illusion of choice and the control? Like what are the steps that you need to take to break free? For me, I'll let you think of some things while I kind of just yammer on a little bit. So stop me when you got a good point.
That's the best part of the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple. Part of it is, one, take a break, step outside, touch grass. And that's more of an internet thing with the video game stuff. But like, get out and take a breather, step away from the corporate world, and you have to have a job to pay your bills for a certain degree, unless you're able to kind of get out there. But the real way to break free is to disconnect from all that news media. Like, don't watch the news. I'm not saying you can't be unversed of what's going on, but you have to find a way to. And there's a couple apps out there I've seen on like some YouTubers that do like news, where they break it down of like, is this a left-leaning article? Who owns this? Right-leaning article? Who owns this news media? What's middle? What's owned by a corporation that doesn't really care but does sometimes favor? So if you're going to read the news, I think those apps are great, because it gives you a little bit of a breakdown. But that's the only way to disconnect from that, and then don't connect so much on TVs and movies. I get it. Entertainment's fun. I love video games. I play fighting games. I play this stuff. That cannot be what you're doing every day, because that's the other problem. Then you're just not even participating in what's going on. So you're doing the breaded circus. So everything is going on and happening, and you're like, that's fine as long as I get Call of Duty, as long as I get Street Fighter, as long as I get this. Well, then that's how they continue doing it. I'm not saying we need to revolt, but if you want to actively take steps away, unclock from the news cycle and the doom scrolling, clock out of the video games for a little bit, and then put that time that you're unclocking into a positive thing, whether it's with your community, whether it's volunteering, just stuff that little things. It doesn't even need to be big scale right now. Like, if I had the time, we have a dog park that's right over by us. Like, it's a crap dog. It's just a big fence. What I would love to do if I had room is just make some treated wood little platforms to put out there for the dogs to play on. There you go. Yeah. One little thing like that. Or the guy that stopped doing our upkeep for the disc golf around where I live because teenagers break it. Help do that. Like, I like disc golf. We like disc golf. Going to do that on maybe one of the weekends that are warmer. Going and just kind of make sure everything's okay. Do some help prep and like maybe redo the mats or the signs, something like that. Just little things like that adds more to the community. That'll make you feel fulfilled. And then in that way, when you're doing all your stuff, you feel like you're breaking free. That you have some change, and when you're in a community where your opinions and decisions feel like they matter, that's when you win that victory. And I don't want to I hate to say like win or lose, but what we're talking about is the illusion of choice. You being able to actively make something better is breaking that illusion of choice, because before, no matter what you pick, it's the same shit that's going down. It's going to be the same problems. But if you're able to get involved and then change one of the problems,
dramatic. That was dramatic.
Well, sorry. I think they dropped a bowling ball upstairs. I don't know what's going on, or maybe one of the babies fell. But that's how you break free in my mind. I mean, just take a step back, kind of evaluate what you want to do in your life, what is most important to you, and then starting to carve out that stuff. And it takes time. It's not going to be an easy thing. But that for me is how I would break free.
I think the biggest thing is two of my favorite quotes. Control what you can control.
Mm-hmm.
and work hard at work worth doing. I think that those are two big ones. Another thing is to be aware that you just be aware of the game,
Yeah.
right? Like know that it's a game. You can't you can move up and you can influence just impact your sphere of influence. That's the biggest one. Like be a positive influence in your friends. Be a positive be the person that, and that's another one Gandhi talked about, like
Be the change.
be the change. Yeah. Impact where you can. Another thing is to understand that even now, like about 5 years ago, everybody, even Trump or Trump and Musk's thing, with X, we are the media now.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but now you're manipulating social media, so even that's framed. He talked a few weeks ago, like a couple months ago, about changing the algorithm. The whole thing about the algorithm is it's tailoring. One, it picks up on who you are, and it's going to feed you that content. Also, you're playing into it by how long you scroll on the thing, so it's learning you better and better. It's going to feed you what fires you up, and also half of it's bots. It's all fake.
It's all bots.
So the people that are getting on there and posting, and the people that are just trying to rile people up, all of that is done to divide people. So be aware of the game. The news is fake. I'm not saying all the events are, but it's definitely curated to paint a picture. It's curated and it's slanted, and be aware of that. Don't even trust everything that you hear, because I think there's a lot of false flags out there.
Except for us.
I think except for us, right? We don't. But like the thing in Ukraine where that drone, whatever, blew up into the
it's
like nuclear. It's like, come on, man, that's fake. I do not believe that. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I think the Ukrainian government did it for sure.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. But it's
it's the same thing with the pipeline. The pipeline, they're like, oh, Russia did their own pipeline, and it was like, and they're like, oh yeah, actually it was our guys. We did it.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. We did it. The guys that did not. What? Yeah.
And the real crazy stuff that's going on is covered up and unreported.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm saying be aware that all of the news that's presented in front of you, there's something else that's just as important that's going under the radar.
It's not even a grain of salt anymore. You just have to carry a bag of salt with you wherever you go. But my lock screen, to go to your point about knowing it's a game, on my work laptop is an Alan Watts quote. It was like, man suffers for taking seriously what the gods made for fun, and that was life. Life is, there is something going on. There's so much. There's only so much you can do. It's hard to harp on. And then granted, we're in situations where we're not starving. We're not in a war-torn country. So I think we got lucky in that sense. But there's only so much that I can control in my life. So I need to I can't worry about everything that's going on, or my life will be miserable.
And you weren't meant to. That's the other thing too. You weren't, and that's why everybody's adrenaline and all their and everybody's got anxiety. You were not meant to have a deluge of bad news flung at you every day, and it's like you never have any good news. Like the majority of people, it's like, my aunt died. It's like, oh, that's bad news. Like, where there's a war going on, it's like, oh, that's bad. But now it's like there's a war going on in Syria. There's a war going on here.
We don't have any more. We need to be more like Art Bell. Get some weird stuff out there. Get some fun, happy stories. Cover that. We need to
need our own time traveler on this show. That's what we need. Find the time travelers.
The midweek morning show is always kind of goofy stories. I mean, like when I was doing the blog, I was finding some stuff about like fossils and stuff. Cool, highlighting fun stuff. There are so many good things that are happening that outweigh, I think, the bad. Because you think about right now, before we end the show, I'm always like, oh, this is horrible. We're in the safest time ever in mankind that has been recorded right now. At this point, outside of maybe before Atlantis, maybe it was pretty safe.
Right.
But you're like, there's still going to be some bad stuff happening. Not every country is a first world country right now, but overall, it's like 75% positive, and then 25% that's negative is negative, but it's like not that bad. So but then you're being spun up to be like everything is horrible. The world we're living in is awful. And I think just after 2012, it's just kind of, you can kind of see it. We went from the 90s and 2000s, everything being colorful, to be like diluted and grayed out and more like corporate. Life just has lost its vigor. And we got to bring it back.
There's this whole idea in the Gospels, like, don't gain the world and lose your soul. Don't be so consumed with the carnal. And now I'm going to say Jesus Christ, follow Christ, like become a Christian, like that's my.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like don't on another level, it's don't get so consumed with things that are tangible that are right in front of your face and forget the things that truly matter in life: love, having peace in your heart. I mean, you can't put a price tag on those things.
Yeah.
And it's like people are so consumed with all the news, they're so consumed with all the bad news or the good news or just the weird stories that they forget to tend to the things that matter most,
Mhm.
which is inside of them. So don't
So
get so caught up in the world that you forget that.
Yeah, and I'm not a religious man. I'm a heathen. I'm going to hell as of right now. I'm gonna ask, hey, ChatGPT, can you give me a Bible verse to kind of send out a podcast talking about the illusion of choice and what
Nice.
we can do to better ourselves and our community?
Okay, here we go.
Let's see what. Oh, it says ChatGPT. It didn't say ChatGPT. Okay, I'll just. So we'll see. We'll see. It's reasoning right now.
Oh,
Considering Bible verses, the users.
What in the world model are you on? Are you on that big one? You got to pay $200 a month.
No, I just canceled my $20 one because I had life insurance, so we had to pay for it like $16 a month. So I was like, I'll cancel ChatGPT. I'm not using it very much.
That's smart. That is smart.
Consider using Proverbs 16:9. The heart of a man plays his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. This verse offers a powerful reflection on your sense of control versus a higher guiding purpose. While we may believe we freely choose our path, it reminds us that there's a divine order at work. In your podcast, you can use this verse to discuss how your perceived choices might sometimes be an illusion. Whoa, that's crazy. Let's put that down before they start getting views on that podcast. Normally, I would let you do that because you're the religious person, but I wanted to use ChatGPT in that way.
I love it.
I should ask it some Alan
time.
Watts questions. I'm like, I think I'll do that.
You could pretend. You could say answer as if you were Alan Watts, and he will even put it in his dialect.
See,
and like how they talk.
And I hate that a little bit though, because like I was listening to some more chill stuff the other day. There's some people found some good recordings that I haven't heard in a while. I don't like when it's like, because people in that community who like Alan's like philosophy has saved them. They kind of like hold him to this weird messiah level. And he's talked about he doesn't like that, and I don't like it when people do that. So when you start going like ask how would Alan Watts handle this? It's like, he's a dude. He was an alcoholic. He had some good ideas, but and I think his thought process was great, but he's not like he's not like I should do it this way. He's giving me a framework of how I should think of my life. But I think I'll ask that as a joke for a couple things.
Yeah.
I do think
cool to get some perspective. I mean, I wouldn't take it all.
No, yeah. I just don't like it when people prop up these people who have good ideas and they've done a great job of like talking about certain things to move thought along, and then they put them to this such a high pedestal, and it's like that's not what the person wanted. They are just talking, and people are doing well with it, and all I'm saying is don't put us on that pedestal. We're not going to be there, but I think that's.
I don't think we got to worry about.
All right, we can wrap this up. We're past an hour. It's way longer than we wanted. So,
all right,
love you,
and God bless.
All right, now you can find us on Celestial Mystery Hour podcast anywhere that says have podcasts. So we'll I don't know if we'll have another one. This will be the next week, and then we'll maybe back in person. We'll see what happens.